We are backstage at Lollapalooza. My name is Marty Leonards, joined by Alex Turner and Miles Kane of Last Shadow Puppets. Welcome, you guys.
Afternoon.
Nice
Thanks
to
for
have you
having
here
us.
on this rainy afternoon. Sort of like being back in England in the summertime, isn't it?
Yeah, we were just saying that.
Reminiscent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as Last Shadow Puppets, did your first show in Chicago last night at the Vic Theater, right? I don't think you performed here last time.
No, never. Only New York and Los Angeles the
Yeah.
last time
Yeah.
around on the '08 Puppets campaign.
So that was back in '08. That was, if my math is correct, 8 years ago when
Yeah.
Last Shadow Puppets released the first record. And so much has happened in between that record to now, Alex, with Arctic Monkeys. And we've chatted here a number of times over the years. In fact, I have to say this. I don't know if you remember this. I'm sure you don't. But I watched the interview we did back around. It must have been one of the early times you played here. And all I wanted to talk about was Last Shadow Puppets. You were here
right.
with Arctic Monkeys, so I was so blown away by that record and liked it so much. And I tried to get you into talking about that, but you're with your mates from Arctic Monkeys, so you sort of pushed that off to the side. So it's
Let's
great
talk
that
about
you
it
guys
now,
are here.
Martin.
Yeah, right?
Let's get into it. What do you want to know?
Well, I want to know, after 8 years coming back together, side project like that, or with when you guys both have careers outside of Last Shadow Puppets, how did it come together after 8 years? Like, has this been an ongoing thing, or what?
No, we hadn't touched it since we put it away in, like 8 years ago. I remember that tour ended at the Mayan Theatre in Los Angeles, and we were all very sad that it was over. And then we went back and each made a few records since then.
Yeah.
But we were still, it's like
We had
seeing quite a lot of each
Yeah.
other. Like
We had little moments where we'd still work together on the odd tune or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Join each other on stage now and again.
And then, then like a couple of years ago, we got around to writing together, but the idea was vaguely that it'd be for Miles's next record.
Mm-hmm.
And then at a certain point during that time, it seemed like we were stronger
There
together.
was like a
for
few
it.
batch of tunes that were written, like Bad Habits, Used to Be My Girl, Aviation, and a couple
Good
of
song,
others
yeah.
that kind of made sense for us to sort of, it seemed it
Right.
was like heading towards the Puppets,
Mhm. So how has it for you guys evolved in that time in terms of sound? Because the first record was, sort of a singular thing. It was 60s big lush pop songs with Ennio Morricone in there too. Has that changed for you, or do you have a new vision for Last Shadow Puppets this time?
Well, I think when we did this song Aviation that we were writing that was maybe going to be on his record, there was something in that was reminiscent of the first album, but yet seemed to have like a shimmery quality to it that was perhaps absent on that first record. I think it had been so long since that record that the question became more, how are we gonna give the sophomore record a link to the first one, rather than like how are we gonna make it different? I think like enough had happened in terms of what we've been doing creatively independently since then that like it was gonna have moved on. Like we perhaps weren't as naive as we were that first time when we made the first record, and I think looking back now that is a strong point about that. I think to me it sounds like us trying to do that 60s lush pop song or like Scott Walker thing and kind of not quite making the mark, and that's like, I don't know, there's something cute about that maybe.
Yeah,
like,
well, that's quite something to attempt. I mean, that's a big thing to attempt.
Yeah, but this time, like, I'm not to say like I don't know. I just think it's not as it wasn't as. I think all the time we had thought if we were going to make another record together, we'd need like another bunch of records to get excited about. Like we had been the Scott Walker records or whatever to the first one. And it was only when we realised that that wasn't the way to go about it that we actually started getting somewhere and writing. You know, if that makes sense.
Paul Weller comes to mind. Maybe do you find Paul Weller as an inspiration?
The Style Council is definitely something that we always loved the Jam and his other stuff, but I think the Style Council is something that we came around. Came around to this time, whereas I never used to understand that. And we were definitely listening to Long Hot Summer,
right? Well,
when we were making this.
It's sort of interesting because Are
you a Weller fan?
Yes, very much so, since the beginning.
Weller actually, not to drop a name, but he actually came by the Shangri-La studio while we were recording there. Miles become quite good friends with him, to the point where I witnessed one of the strangest things, something I never thought I'd see, Marty, and that was Paul Weller lying on the grass while Miles tickled his belly.
I
just when people ask you about do you ever have those moments where you just pinch yourself and wondered how did I get here? That was definitely one of them.
Wow.
He was lying there in the sun. He's like, oh, it's a bit hot. He goes, you going to play us any tunes then or what? So I went over to him and I went, come on then, let's go and let's play some tunes.
He
said,
come hilarious.
Yeah.
Paul Weller.
He's a lovely fella.
He really is, and his entire family. I've met his father. Back in the day when they were touring, and his father was his TM, his tour manager, and his mother was running the fan club, and his sister was running merch. And I had a long conversation with his dad, and it was just really amazing. I haven't spoken with Paul that much, but I spoke with his family, which is crazy. But for Last Shadow Puppets, the secret weapon has to be Owen Pallett, who does the orchestrations on both records. Yeah, he's an amazing musician.
He's incredible, and he still continues to amaze me, even beyond, his contribution to the record, both records. But we've been doing quite a lot of cover versions on the tour, and each time we do one, we try and have him write an arrangement for this, and some of the stuff he's done. I feel like the cover, it really blow my mind, man.
Yeah.
We've been covering "Is This What You Wanted" by Leonard Cohen, and he did the arrangement he did on it is just kind of, it's really something.
Well, I'm excited about seeing you guys play tonight. You're going on at 9 o'clock, and it's in a great stage on the other end of the park. And it's going to be a wonderful atmosphere to see you guys, and really looking forward.
It's going to be the midnight hour in our minds, though, isn't it?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, well, that's great. Make us feel like it's midnight when it's really only 9.
You can count on us for that, man. Yeah.
All right, Alex Turner, Miles Kane of Last Shadow Puppets, thank you so much for coming by. We'll see you later on tonight.
Our pleasure.
Cool.